good evening, everybody. Welcome to what show am I hosting right now? Fairway to Heaven, right there on SM Media. Wow, way to kick off the show. We're live, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube on Fairway to Heaven. Make sure you like, share, retweet this video. If you're watching on YouTube, that's the best place to watch the show. That's where you can get your questions asked, answered, thoughts, anything like that. Make sure you do me a favor, like the video, and click that subscribe button. I'd greatly, greatly appreciate it. I'm your host, Phil Stifle, at Bearded Knowledge on Twitter. Joining me, as always, my main man, Jay Sully, Jay Sullivan, at JSully2120. Man, I'm all over the place to start this show. Man, I don't know what I'm doing. Just forgetting the name of the show, Jason. I kind of forget everything I'm supposed to do right now. Is this a golf show? I don't even know what day is it right now. I know. What day is it today? Dude, if anybody wants to know how my night is, go to my Twitter page, at Bearded Knowledge. I sold an old mattress that's been sitting in my shed for at least 5 years, covered in stink bugs, wrapped up, put it on the marketplace, $35. Queen size mattress, bed frame, box spring, everything. This guy and girl pull up in a little tiny Subaru, and instead of strapping it long ways to the roof, they strap it wide, like I'm just like, that's how my night's gonna go right there. And they pulled out into a major highway with it strapped down like that. I'm like, whatever. How you doing?
First of all, I just want to comment on that real quick. Who buys a used bed from someone that they don't know? That's disgusting.
My town. There's a lot of how do I say this? Kennett Square, where my town that I'm mainly from, has a very high illegal immigrant population. And they buy things used and cheap because, and this is not sarcasm, and this is not me talking down, because they do the jobs that we don't want to do. They pick mushrooms. My town's the mushroom capital of the world. And if you don't know anything about picking mushrooms, go Google search a video on what mushroom houses look and sound and smell like. It's not a pleasant job. So they literally will, 10 or 12 of them will rent a 1-bedroom apartment, and they'll all buy cheap mattresses and sleep on the floor. It's no lie. It's insane. It's the most gross thing to me and you, but to them, it's just like, it's a bed to sleep on. I'm
going to be honest with you. I did not see the show going down this path tonight. I
know. I had no idea where it was going.
I was not ready.
I know. Well, obviously, I wasn't ready because I couldn't remember what show I was hosting there. Man, I got to clip this one out and post this on social media. This is one of the greatest intros to a podcast ever.
Do you want to sponsor us? Please.
Yes, please sponsor this podcast. The one that I don't know the name of. Anyway.
It's really fun.
We got the John Deere Classic up in Silvis, Illinois. Is that how you say it? Silvis? Honestly, I had to look on a map. I had no idea where Silvis was, honestly. It's not even like it's outside of a major city. A lot of people are talking trash. And I want to get this out of the way first as part of the conversation. A lot of people are talking trash. Super weak field. Probably now with all the withdrawals might go down as the weakest field of the year. Outside that late fall, winter swing that they do. But this is a big moment for Silvis, Illinois. Having this event there every single year, it's been there for quite a long time. The TPC Deere Run. Last year, under COVID protocols, which this year it's not, they raised almost $13 million for local charities in their town. They're expecting this year to get close to $20 million raised for their local charities. So while we think of it as, whatever, it's a wash, we're looking ahead to the Scottish Open or the Open Championship in a few weeks. The John Deere Classic means a lot to that city, that town, and probably that whole entire state. And when I started reading articles about that, it made me actually want to care and watch this week's event even more, because it does a lot of really great stuff. Their main thing, let me pull that right tab up. It's called Birdies for, where is it? There it is. Birdies for Charity is what it's called. And it raises a ton of money for a lot of people. So, I wanted to throw that out there because a lot of people talk down on this event, but it does a lot of really good stuff.
Yeah, that's amazing. I actually didn't even know that. But anytime you see like the tour or like these different sporting events go to these towns, like these small towns, like it's really good for the town, obviously. Like it does a lot for Detroit. I mean, Detroit's kind of on the comeback right now. It's got a bad reputation and everything like that, but getting a PGA Tour event in the actual city of Detroit is amazing. Like it does a lot for the cities that they go to.
Yeah, I think it's something that most people ignore, but on my side of it, I'm looking at it as a positive. Majorly looking at it as a positive. So, major up to all the people and all the organizers and volunteers that are helping put all the things that are going on. This is a whole week event there in Silvis. There's so many different charity events going on, pro-ams, charity events, all different kinds of things. And, I think, people need to, if we all pay more attention to it, maybe, some more sponsors will get involved. Maybe, more eyes will get on the event. Maybe then some other golfers will start showing up to this event. So the more people that pay attention and watch, maybe in the big picture, grand scheme of things, the better off it'll be long term.
Well, this is not a bad event. This is just it's a victim of timing. It's the worst, probably the worst week of the entire season to have an event. It's like all the good players are already overseas. They're going to play in the Scottish Open. They're going to play in the Open 2 weeks from now. It's like it's just a bad time of the year to have it. It's like literally probably the last week you want to have if you're a sponsor. Is this week?
Is this the kind of week when something like this kind of brings up the question: should golf have off weeks or bye weeks throughout the year?
You almost think they should, right? Like I know that they don't play Thanksgiving week, right? And I don't think they play they don't play a couple weeks for Christmas, but it's like it almost. I mean, obviously this what you said about the charity thing kind of proves that point wrong.
I'm not saying get rid of this event, but I'm saying maybe make this a bye week and then you throw this event somewhere else on tour, or on the calendar year. I mean, it's just something to think about. That another thing that people don't talk about, But you know what? For as few people that show up, a lot of golfers have gotten their first win at the John Deere. I mean, big George Speed, the Bryson.
Yeah, you can get your exemption too. You could win this week and get into the Open in 2 weeks. I mean, that's huge.
You could get. I mean, there's a lot of guys on exemptions this week that you win, you get your tour card.
Yeah,
you hit that money list. FedEx Cup points, things like that. There's so much at stake this week. So. Let's get into it this week. TPC Deere run. I'm trying to, with the lighter field, I'm kind of dialing back my work this week. And again, I know I just talked about, doing more and paying more attention, but I'm trying still to, dial back my bankroll a little bit, lineups, the research and all. But, when I was looking at this course, this is going to be one of the, hey, there's my man, Jax. How you doing, Jax? How's it going, buddy?
Peace.
Yeah. Who's winning? Ask Jax who's winning this week.
Who's winning the golf tournament this week? Sorry. He says Nick Hardy.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Hold on. Let me check my board here. No, he's not on my betting sheet. He's on my DraftKings sheet, though. I do like Nick Hardy this week. I'm looking at two things this week, and I know there's a lot of different things you can look at. I'm looking at birdies because there's going to be a crap ton of birdies this week. And I'm looking at ball striking. Instead of off the tee or approach, I'm going a little different this week, which is straight ball striking. When you're looking at this TPC Deere run course, what are you looking at with this course?
Birdies, like you said, for sure. Driving accuracy actually correlates huge here. So that, and then greens and regulation also correlates here. The greens are bigger, and so people think oh, everybody's going to hit the greens. But it's like the guys that win here hit a crap ton of greens. So those are going to be the main things I look at this week. So I've been doing my model. I think I mentioned this 2 weeks ago, a little bit differently. I'm finding 4 stats that I love, weighting them 25% each. And then I still look at other stats. So I still looked at 5 other stats, right? So this week I have approach, fairways, and birdie or better at 25% each to see who would have pulls up. So the irony is last week I did the same thing. I had 4 stats. I can't remember off the top of my head what the 4 stats were. But last week, the guy who finished number 1 in my model last week with just 4 stats, Xander Schauffele. And you know who I didn't play? Xander Schauffele. So
see, last week was actually funny because it's the first time that my number 1 DraftKings play of the week, which was Xander Schauffele, it's the first time that I did not bet my number 1 DFS play. I always line up my best DFS play and I throw a bet on them. I did not throw a bet on Xander, and I'm really. I mean, I did okay because I had him in like 11 of my 20 lineups last week. So I had a pretty solid week last week. But man, if I could have thrown a unit or two on him, I think he was 22 or 24 to 1 to win the event. It would have turned a very profitable, week out last week. But yeah, I like what you're doing there with just the 4 stats. And I'm trying to do something similar to that.
Yeah. So I've only done it twice so far. So this is the 3rd week I'm doing it. So just for future reference, this week, the number 1 stat guy is Webb Simpson, which 30% own Webb Simpson. A lot of people are going to have him in their laps. I haven't decided if I'm going to play him or not, but I almost kind of want to play him just to test out the model thing. See if that works.
So Webb Simpson comes in 7th in my model. He's good at he's probably one of the most popular guys. Actually, I think he'll be probably second most maybe to Adam Hadwin. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do similar to you, where instead of just picking 4, I'm trying to stick to 2 and get 50 to 60% of my model on just two stats. And then I got a couple 10% mixed in there and stuff, but really zone in on 2 things.
So ownership is going to be another thing that you're going to have to consider this week, which in looking at it early, it's crazy. Some of these numbers are insane. And it's like, I heard our buddies Rob and Drew talking about this on their show, and they were talking about how in a field like this where there's so many unknown guys, people are going to go to the guys that they know. They're going to go to Webb. They're going to go to Adam Hadwin, people like that. Like, I mean, just the fact that Webb's going to be 30% owned, Hadwin's going to be 29% owned, like that's insane.
It really is. And honestly, if you told me that this was going to be the field without talking ownership percentage and Adam Hadwin, I know when you have this weak field, you got sticker shock all over the board, up and down the board, guys that are just insanely owned at different prices or price points. But you know, you get used to that in DraftKings when you have these kind of fields. But you tell me an event and Adam Hadwin was your second highest priced guy, like
and
I don't care.
And it's not 15% owned; it's 30.
Man,
like that's insane.
That's where I get a little concerned. So I did the 50-60% ownership on birdies or better and ball striking, just trying to flip it around. So I had one name that ranked out in the top 10. So what I did was I sorted my model, saw who came in number 1 in my model, but then I went and sort. So that's what I've been doing, picking my favorite stats and sorting just by those stats so that I could see who's in the top 10 in just those 2 things. Almost like, because I did it a few weeks ago where I ran 2 models. My main model, then I picked just a second model with just those 2 stats. And it was just too many pages flipping back and forth. So I just kind of sorted. And there's one guy that finishes in the top 10 in both ball striking and birdies or better. He's 9,300. He's Charles Howe III, which, again, 9,300 for Charles Howe III is an insane thing to think about. Then you start thinking, can Charles Howe actually have a good week? 3rd in birdies or better, 6th in ball striking, 7th off the tee, 7th shots gained total overall. The only thing that concerns me with Charles Howe this week is you say these greens are reachable, greens in regulation, whatever. I put a little dabble off to the side of 3-putt avoidance, because when you got big greens, you gotta worry about those 3 putts on big greens. Thoughts on Charles Howe III, because he's my number 1 play this week at this point.
So I saw that before I did any research, right? I saw that you were betting on him, and I couldn't believe it because it's Charles Howell III. Then I started doing my research. Like, he's been in good form. T35 last week, T18 at the Memorial. But, I mean, you're talking about his last 3 times here, T23, T6, and T19. So, obviously, good course history. Like you said, 2nd tee to green, 6th in birdies. The correlation of greens and regulation that I was mentioning, 1st in the field. 3rd in par 4 scoring, 5th in strokes gained total. Like, he sets up perfectly. It's like, in my head, do I think he can win? No, but this is not a normal golf tournament. I mean, he's kind of like the class of, like, one of the class guys. And
he's not going to be 30% owned.
No, his ownership, right? This is the amazing part to me. His ownership is 9.9 right now. Like, that's insane to me. Like, when you're talking some of these other guys.
It's so weird. FanShare and Fantasy National always are off by like 4 or 5%. Fantasy National's got him at 13.5.
That seems more right to me.
I'm still okay with that. I'm still okay at 13.5. So, you know, I love it's the only bet I have of a full unit on a bet outright. It's on Charles Howe III.
See, like, the way I look at it too is, would you rather have Hadwin, who's more expensive by $1,000 and going to be twice as owned, or would you rather have Howell? I feel like I'd rather have Howell. Like, it's insane.
With course history, I mean, they both probably have equal win equity. If not, Charles Howe might have a little bit more win equity this week.
Well, yeah. If people think like Hadwin's been so good, Hadwin's won 1 time on the PGA Tour ever. So It's not like his win equity is like, you know, going through the roof or anything.
Yeah. I mean, I'm actually paying a lot of attention to course history this week. Like, I don't need 20, 22, 24 names this week. I need 8 to 9 names because I'm doing 3, maybe 4 lineups. So 8 names maximum is what I need. So why wouldn't you look at course history? And what I do is I tend to do this occasionally, especially on weeks when we're doing the show a little different. We're not going price by price, tier by tier. So I'm just jumping all over the place. I take the last 5 years at this event almost every week, whether I weigh it heavily or not, I don't know. But I went and I sorted total shots gained total over the last 5 years. And my second favorite play this week is a guy that doesn't model out super well, but he's won here before, and he's had a hell of a lot of great finishes, and that's Ryan Moore. So I'd love to know what you think of Ryan Moore because, I mean, he's gained over the last – he's missed one cut in the last 5 years at this event, but still gained over 31 strokes total at this event. He's got a second and 18th, a 55th, a missed cut, and a win from 16 till now because obviously there was no event in 2020 with COVID. I mean, I don't know what your philosophy is with this, but when I see a guy – let me pull his stats up here. And he finished 49th in my model. But he's a really good ball striker, 7th in the field in approach, 15th three-putt avoidance. He checks enough boxes and then has fantastic course history. Kind of feel like you got to weigh that this week.
I don't mind that play, actually, to be honest with you. Especially like you said with the course history. He's not obviously the same golfer he was in a lot of those. I mean, T70 at the Memorial and then T35 at the RBC Canadian. Like, it's not jumping off the page at you, but I feel like he's only 3% owned according to FanShare. So I like that. I don't mind that play at all. I feel like that's the kind of play you're going to need to find this week. If you are going to play the Webbs and the Hadwins and guys like that, you're going to have to find that 2% owned, 1% owned, 3% owned guy where, they maybe not necessarily win equity, but top 10 equity for sure.
Yeah, the way I'm looking at it is all that you said, all that I've said already. I'm looking at. I'd rather find Ryan Moore. You say 70th at the Memorial, 35th RBC. He's made 4 straight cuts. So basically, he's got great course history and he's going to make the cut. Would you rather play Ryan Moore at 7,200, or let's just pick any random 66 or 6,500 guy here? Would you rather play Sean O'Hare, David Lingmerth, who's not played in how long? Some of these names, I don't even know who some of these names are on this board. You know what I mean? Jason Duffner's a 6K guy. Normally he's 6,500. I mean, some of these names in the low 6K, do you really feel comfortable? I mean, Matt Every, do you want to take him? Do you want to take Ben Crane? Nope. Ben Crane's in the field. That's all you got to say. So where do you feel comfortable? And me, I feel comfortable taking guys that have great course history that I know can make the cut in other events because in this field, weaker field, they definitely should be able to make the cut.
And that's a good point, too. It's like you were kind of saying earlier, like, where do you feel comfortable? I told you before the show, I have 2 guys that I've been doing research all day today. I have 2 for sure plays. 2. Normally at this point, I have 20 guys I want to play. I want to trim it down to 15. I have 2 guys that I want to play for sure. That's insane. Maybe right, 3.
Let's get those because I gave you my best 2, Charles Howell and Ryan Moore. Who are your 2?
So I like Howell too, but my favorite play of the week is Nick Hardy, which is not really saying all that much. Fanshare, I think. Let's see what Fanshare has him at right now. Fanshare has him at 16.5%, which is actually not that high for how good he's been playing. I mean, he was T8 last week, T14 at the U.S. Open. He played this tournament twice. It was in 2017 and 18, 15th and a 43rd. So nothing too crazy, but pretty solid. This dude is just good. He's just a good golfer. And I feel like his game sets up I think he's underpriced in this field for how he's playing right now. So at 8,700, he's my favorite play in the whole field. And then my second favorite play in the field is going to be David Lipsky. I love playing him in weak fields. That's the key, though. You cannot play him in a normal field. He's just not.
I played
not that kind of guy.
And he burned me. I put 40% lineup clicks on him when he last missed cut. It was in a strong field and it burned me because I loaded up on Lipsky and it was a big mistake.
So he's missed 2 cuts in a row, but look back on how he's done it. Look at the Mexico Open. Look at tournaments like this, Punta Cana, Corrales, different ones like that. He just plays really well, and he always finds himself in the top 10 in these events. So, I mean, his stats kind of line up perfectly too. 10th in approach, 19th in fairways gain, and 9th in greens in regulation. So, David Lipsky's my second favorite play.
He's number 3 in my model this week. So, there's nothing wrong with him. So,
yeah. So those are my 2 favorite plays, and then in terms of a value play this week, Lee Hodges is coming in pretty good form. So he's going to be my kind of sleeper, if you will. I don't know how low owned he's going to be, but he's 6,900. I like to go when I go low. I like to go with guys that have good recent form. And he's in pretty good form.
So I want to backtrack for a second to Nick Hardy because I absolutely love Nick Hardy too this week. He's probably my second favorite play right under Charles Howell this week. And like I said, I like to sort specific stats and then try to line them up with other stats. And Charles Howell is 3rd in birdies or better and 6th in ball striking. My top 2 stats, he's in the top 6 in both. Nick Hardy 8th in ball striking, 13th in birdies or better. So there's only 2 people that are in the top 13 in those 2 categories. But what you get with Nick Hardy on top of those 2 great stats is he's 5th in the field off the tee as well. So, you're getting a guy that's top 13 in 2 massively important stats, in my opinion, and a third stat that's pretty much always important. Off the tee, you got to at least think about it almost every single week to an extent. So Hardy's a fantastic play. So I absolutely love that. Lipsky, again, like I said, he burned me. So, but that was my fault for playing him in the tougher field. I'm trying to bring up Hodges here. See what I see on him. Yeah, no, I mean I could see that as well. So I got right under Nick Hardy. I got another name that I like a lot because Nick Hardy came in 9th in my model. Coming in 8th in my model was Adam Long, and I got to pull up his stats. He was my 3rd favorite play.
Driving accuracy. It's all about the accuracy.
And not only that, but he's pretty solid form. Actually, honestly, pretty. He's got 3 missed cuts, okay, in his last 10 events. But when he's not missing the cut, his worst finish is 35th. And he's got 2 top 15s. He's got 3 top 21s, 4 top 25s. So the guy, when he's making the cut, and you would think Adam Long's going to make the cut in this event, you're going to get him at top 25. So, 12% on Fantasy National, could be a little bit higher, a little bit lower on fan share. And then where's he fall on the course history here? He's made the cut in his 2 tries here. Last year finished 23rd. So you're getting all those boxes checked again. So Hal, Hardy, Long with Ryan Moore, I think that's a pretty fair build in my opinion right there to start with. And hell, throwing Lipsky or Hodges as well. Dude, you might have just finished out my 8 names I'm using for my player pool this week.
What's funny too is like you put those guys in a lineup together and you don't feel that bad about it. Like you probably feel better about that lineup than you do about a lineup that starts with Webb. I mean, at 10-6, it's just because of the price. I mean, it's crazy. I have a couple other ones in the 7Ks that kind of stick out to me.
I want to address Webb and Hadwin too. Is Webb and Hadwin, and some people will say, well, pivot and take Jason Day because he's going to be like next to nothing percent. Dude, do you feel confident that any of them are even going to take this event seriously?
Jason
and honestly, they might withdraw. They might withdraw tonight or tomorrow with all the withdrawal. You know what I mean?
I can't believe Webb's playing.
I really can't. Yeah,
I was so surprised that Webb was even playing. I'm shocked that he's playing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, no, I have 2 other names in the 7s that I kind of like. John Huh, who I don't think I've ever played in DraftKings before. I mean, look at his recent form though. Yeah. T13 at the Travelers, T25 at the RBC Canadian, and T12 at the Charles Schwab. Stop. My kid's right here. But he's made 3 or 4 cuts. He's made 3 or 4 cuts here. So I don't know. I love John Haw. And then the other one is Ches Reavie. I mean, he's been playing pretty well. T8 last week, T27 at the Charles Schwab, T18 here last year. It's just like he just kind of fits the model too. 2nd in fairways gained, 23rd in greens regulation. So
I love it.
Ches Reavie and John Haw.
I actually was doing research on Haw because like you, I don't know who he is. But he modeled out.
I just like that Pat Mayo. When Pat Mayo calls him John Huh?
Yeah, yeah. He finished in the top 15 of my model. So he was a guy. I'm like, yeah, look at that. You know who else finished in my top 15? I just talked about staying away from the guys that you don't know. But he finished in the top 30. He was 13th in my model. And I'm like, no, I can't do it. Have you ever had somebody in your top 15, hell, your top 20, that was the bottom of the barrel, 6K?
I can't say I have.
Because I got a guy that's 6K even, flat. That's 13th in my model.
Boo Weekly?
Yes. He's number 1 in approach, number 1 ball striker, 3rd in good drives, Yeah. I'm like, how can I? And I'm trying to click on him. I'm like, how can I play Bo Weekly? Boo, Bo, whatever.
You know what's funny, too? So over the last 50 rounds, 1st in ball striking. Did you ever say that? 1st in ball striking, 2nd in greens and regulation, 1st in proximity. Like, Boo Weekly, I can't do it. But
no, I can't do it. I cannot do it. And that's why I kind of shied away from who? Who? Or who? Is because I'm looking at the model, but if it's a name that I've never heard of, or I mean, I've heard of and Weekly before, but guys, I'm like, I don't know literally a single thing about them. Then I know those stats are skewed to an extent.
Well, and it's funny. So trying to go with the 4 stats, I'm going to go off 4 stats. Boo Weekly 3rd. Yikes.
I would love to know what fan share has Austin Smotherman as ownership wise.
It wasn't that high last time I looked, actually, which I was surprised.
Confused by that. I expected Smotherman and Svensson to take huge price jumps in this field because they're cut makers, even in deep fields, and they've been
Smotherman
playing.
is 6.
That's what Fanshares got him about. I'm really surprised at his price and his ownership's not higher.
Svensson's right here. Svensson's oh my god, 21.
Okay, so Svensson's getting the price, the ownership jump, but I really expected much more. And with those prices, I'm like, oh, these guys got to be higher owned, and Svensson obviously is, but Smotherman isn't.
I think Smotherman will jump a little bit because he's been pretty solid lately. So yeah, I could see him going up to probably 12.
In my model, and I would think that he would be 8K, 8,500 maybe, because like I said, I mean, you look at his most recent form. He missed the cut the Travelers, but 44. He went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cuts in a row with a couple top 25s. Missed one cut, and then May 25th, 55th. He had earlier this year, and 11th at the Farmers. I mean, you would think he'd be a little higher priced in this kind of field. And same thing with Svensson. You would have thought. I would have thought Svensson probably would have hit 8,500 in this field. 5 straight cuts made, and earlier this year had a 9th place at the Honda. So you would have thought that. Or I would have thought that those guys would have been super, super expensive, and now that Svensson's going to be chalky, that's kind of following the trend. Smotherman, maybe not. I'm kind of confused there.
Well, with the Svensson thing too, I think the 21% ownership kind of shows that he's too cheap. I mean, everyone's jumping on him at that price, so that kind of shows they made a mistake
but they're not
there.
jumping on Smotherman, which he's even. I don't know. It's kind of confusing me. So we've gone over. So basically, I did one lineup. I did one test build, and I actually clicked submit on it just because I liked it enough. I wasn't going to test it and then forget about it. It had Hal, it had Hardy, it had Long in it, it had Ryan Moore in it, and then I went 2 other names. I went Lashley at 7,200 and Lucas Glover. And I don't know, Lashley. I think at 7,200, it's a pretty fair priced guy. But I think Lucas Glover maybe he's the one that you can argue against. What are your thoughts on Lucas Glover this week?
I like Glover. Obviously, he's the defending champion too, which obviously he's done well here before. Lashley's interesting to me too because he seems to kind of tear up these kind of courses. Remember, he won Detroit a few years ago, easily. Mm-hmm. It's the same kind of thing where it's just a birdie fest and turns into a putting contest, and he's a pretty good putter. So I like Lashley probably more than Glover, but I could see either one of them.
Yeah, Lashley's fourth and birdies are better than the last 36 rounds in the field.
He tears up easy courses too. So
absolutely. So I don't know. I kind of played around with that, and then I'm like, all right, well, those 6 guys just got locked into my player pool. It didn't really need much else. He had Lipsky and Hodges. I think it's a pretty strong start to a player pool there. I mean, do you have any other names you want to talk about here?
I don't have a ton. The 6K range is kind of interesting to me. There's just a few names that kind of stick out. Vaughn Taylor kind of not weekly. Vaughn Taylor kind of popped in my model, which I was shocked by. Kelly Craft has been in pretty good form recently. Snedeker's the second best putter on bent grass in this field. He's in the 6Ks. I don't even want to tell you what my kid just said.
Hopefully it's a funny joke.
He has to go number 2, he said.
Yeah. Tell him if he's going to get the chicks at the baseball field, at the Little League field, he better handle that on his own.
That's right. You better wipe your own ass.
Wow, this show is just completely off the rails. But I'm no lie, this is my favorite Fairway to Heaven episode we've ever done in 2 years.
By far the best. By
far the most entertaining.
You forgot the name in the title.
I forgot the name of the show. And literally, this is my first drink of the night, just so you know.
That's right.
I swear to you God on that. All right, back to that 6K range.
That's about it for me. What bets did you make this week?
I have 6 outright. So I go anywhere from 4, 5, 6 outright, some top 20s on. Like I said, I know you could say why you're doing the complete opposite. I'm dialing it back this week. I'm going 3 or 4 lineups, and I've got 6 bets, but I've only got 4 units total. I got a lot of half unit bets, a couple 3/4. I only have 1 full single unit bet, and that's on Charles Howe. I've bet Charles Howe 22-1. I bet Nate Lashley at 65-1. Ryan Moore at 130-1. Austin Smotherman 110. Scott Brown 130, and Alex Smalley 80-1. So I went with a boatload of long shots, and then my favorite guy in my model, Charles Howe.
I'm gonna need you to fill some space for 30 seconds.
Oh yeah, you do what you gotta do right there. I don't know what to talk about right now. I just went through all my bets. I went through my whole lineup. Yeah. I don't even know what to say here. This show completely, totally off the rocker here. Yeah. We're just gonna play some elevator music here while we wait for him to get back here. Because yeah, let's see. Yeah, that's some good elevator music there. It's called Into Space right there. Um, you know what? I'm gonna talk about one thing. Oh no, he's back. Never mind. I was just rambling, playing some elevator music in the back.
I heard you.
I was getting ready to say something, which I was gonna answer. I was gonna ask you anyway. But anyway, did you get those bets? How
So I
last
did, yeah.
year?
I like your
Other
bets for
than round
sure.
and smaller. I figured take the
For
long
sure.
shots because somebody's gonna win their first time ever on this in this event.
So I've only bet two so far. I bet Nick Hardy 40-1, and then Lipsky at 80-1. Those are my only two so far.
I like the Lipsky bet. I do. I really do like that one a lot. So I mean that does that mean Hardy or Lipsky? No, you said Hardy's your winner, right?
I think so. He's just too. I feel like he's underpriced for what he's done lately, and I feel like he's too good in the field. He's due. So yeah, Hardy's my winner for sure.
I might actually add Hardy because, like I said, I haven't even invested like more than like $10 yet this week. Not even, and I'm normally in that $30 to $40 range every single week. So I might actually add a Hardy bet because I do like that play a lot.
I thought he would be about 25-1. So to see him at 40, I thought that was a no-brainer.
That's a really strong set of odds right there. I'll have to check him out after the show. All right, real quick before we wrap the show up, I just I keep debating in my mind about talking live golf. And I didn't have any plans on talking live golf today. None whatsoever. And then literally like 30 minutes before the show, I saw Pat Perez's comments. Did you catch his press conference?
No, I saw what Brooks said though.
Okay, I didn't even see Brooks. I'm trying. Look. People are talking about obviously the PGA has made some changes already. They're going to be instituting some changes coming up in the next year or so. So in theory, what Phil Mickelson said, I'm going to take one for the bullet. I'm going to fall on the sword to make changes. Whatever. I guess in theory, it might be helping. It might be working to an extent. But I'm just against the reasons why some of these guys are going over there, and the fact that they're kind of like, they're not really telling the truth. And if you didn't catch it, Pat Perez today, he spoke. And his exact lines were, look, I've played in over 550 tournaments. I went pro in 1998. Hell, Matt Wolff wasn't even born yet when I went pro. Dude, this is a vacation, and I'm taking the bank. And he's like, why wouldn't I? I want to travel. I've been on the road for 24 years. I'm taking the bag. I'm going to play 8 to 10 events and be good with it. I just wish more golfers would. That is probably 99% of the golfers exactly why they're doing it. Maybe Phil Mickelson, a little bit of Phil Mickelson wanted to do it for the change on the PGA Tour. But honestly, with all his gambling losses and all his, trouble he's gotten in with the law, he probably needs the money more than anything else. I just wish more of the golfers would come out and just be completely 110% openly honest about why they're doing it.
Well, and you'd respect it a lot more. Like Brooks, I
respect Pat Perez 110% right now.
Oh, for sure. Oh, Matt Jones was the same way. Matt Jones said the same exact thing. He's like, I'm 41 years old. I've won one event or whatever he's won in his career. He's like, I can set my family up with $20 million. Like, I get it. But like guys like Brooks, like, oh, I'm just about the competition and I would never go. And he gets pissed at the US Open about the live talk, and then he's gone the next week. Like, Brooks is probably the worst of the examples right now. Like, Bryson's kind of being a little bit douchey too, but I feel like Brooks is just like, I'm all about the competition. I would play for free, blah, 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 blah. Well, you want the money, which if you, like you said, if they come out and say it's about the money, like Perez did, like, Matt Jones did, like, I get it. I can't be mad at it. I wouldn't do it because I think it's blood money, but I don't know. I just hate the live tour, but
sports washing. And I've talked on my morning show about it a boatload of times. And I just, I wouldn't, I always say everybody's got a price on everything in life. So obviously these guys got a price, but don't lie about it. And that's kind of what's rubbed me the wrong way, even more so than anything else. And I literally 30 minutes before we went live, I saw Pat Perez's, statement and all in comments. I'm like, dude, I respect the guy for it. 110%. And I'm glad you see eye to eye with me on that. Brooks, like, yeah, it's cool, whatever. When he was asked about, team captains and stuff, like whatever. He basically took the bag to get his brother a bag.
Which it makes sense for him too.
bag of cash if he wasn't agreeing to do it.
Well, and it makes sense for Brooks too. The dude doesn't even try unless it's a major. He can still play the majors. He can go make a shit ton of money. It doesn't matter how he finishes. Like, it's not real golf. It's like exhibition golf for a crap ton of money. Like, take the money. Just admit that you're taking the money. Like you said. I mean,
will it last?
No.
2
years or less for me. Yep.
2 years max is what I keep looking at.
It has XFL written all over it to me. Like, cool idea, bunch of hype, bunch of money going into it. It won't last.
Well, the only thing I will say is when the Saudis get involved in something, I look at it. I did not think that the WWE's involvement with the Saudis, their Crown Prince or Crown Jewel pay-per-views that they were doing, they're not even called pay-per-views anymore, whatever, where they're taking a $500 million a year to put out 2 events a year, and I didn't think it would last. They're now going on year 4 or 5 of doing it now.
So much money. They don't even care. It's like
so much money, and Vince is always in trouble and paying somebody else so he needs it. So I just wanted to close with that because I really respected Pat Perez's comments tonight, and I just wish more of the guys would come out and be brutally honest with it. So,
totally agree.
Hey, real quick before we sign off the air, I do want to say, last Thursday night, your Detroit Pistons had a hell of a night at the NBA draft. Are the Detroit Pistons back in the NBA?
They're not back, but they're going in the right direction. I mean, they're saying too that they're going to go after Aiden. Doesn't sound like that's going to happen anymore. They're kind of backing off of that. They got, according to them, they got the 2 guys they wanted in the draft. They almost traded Ivy for Duran and other picks, and then they ended up getting both of them. Like, going for it.
Dude, I'm happy for you to see that it paying off right there because you guys have suffered in Detroit for a little while now. So, Cade Cunningham, and now you got a bunch of other young guys, and you might make the 10th seed. Might.
They're going to be like I think they're going to be like a 8, 9, 10-ish range. Like, they're not going to be terrible. And, they got they have $42 million in cap space.
I was just going to say, don't they have a shit ton of cap money?
Second most cap space. So it's like, I don't want to see them just give out a max contract just for the hell of it. But, like, Miles Bridges, I mean, obviously, how I feel about Miles Bridges being a Michigan State guy. But, like, I mean, another athletic wing that can score you 25 points a game. I mean,
I thought that's what you guys were going to do with DeAndre Ayton. Get him, trade for him, give him the big max deal, and
that's what they're going to do. But then Durant's, I mean, obviously he hasn't done anything yet, but like he's a 7-foot rim protector. That's kind of what Ayton is.
Yeah, interesting.
So,
I haven't seen you live and face to face since the draft, and I want to be able to congratulate you guys on when I did the post draft show the next day. I picked Detroit as the number 1 winner of draft night. So
I was talking to somebody that I won't mention from our past, but we were talking about it the other day, and I was saying, okay, Detroit sports are an absolute joke right now. I've had a lot of success in my life with Detroit sports. I can't be mad about it, but like all 4 of my teams suck right now. 3 of them have absolutely awesome GMs now. So that's exciting. I mean, it's going in the right direction. It might not seem like it, but it's going in the right direction.
Hey, you don't always turn things around like that. You know what I mean? No. It's when you try to turn things around like that, you end up where the Phillies are with a luxury tax baseball team that's going to finish 82-80. So
yeah. Well, and the Red Wings did that for how many years? They were trying to keep that streak alive where they made the playoffs 25 years in a row. It was more important to keep the streak alive than to tear it down and suck for a couple of years like you have to. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna wrap Fairway to Heaven up there. Let Jason get to Jack to wipe his butt.
Already did.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Is that why I played elevator music for a minute?
That's right.
Sorry, Adam. I just saw that you checked in like literally a minute or 2 ago. Bet Nick Hardy or Charles Howe this week, Adam. That's all I can say to you right there, brother. Everybody have a great week. Let's enjoy the John Deere Classic. Like I said, they're going to raise close to $20 million up there in Illinois for charities, local charities. It does matter, this event. It really does. And then we'll be back next week with another episode of Fairway to Heaven. Everybody have a great night. Jason, talk to you later. And, we'll talk to you later, guys. Have a good night.